Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Delta Report. The profound effect of what the Fed policy is going to be, of what they're doing right now, is what I'm going to talk about for a few minutes here on the Delta Report. You know that the Fed's going to start this tightening cycle, and they're really getting underway. Yeah, they've raised interest rates just a tad, but they haven't really affected the markets just yet, but they're going to. And they're really getting busy now. They're really getting serious. Fed's Brainerd has talked about, which is normally a dove, but now they're turning very, very hawkish. Talking about 50 basis points raises in interest rates. Now, at the same time, the long end of the yield curve right now, we see it creeping upwards rather quickly. This is going to apply to how much it costs the Federal Reserve to costs the government, I should say, to service our debt, our nation's debt. Oh boy, they're going to cause a downturn. Now, the markets have been relatively stable. We had a few peaks of around 36,000 in the Dow, and we had right now it's running around 34,000, but it's been staying on this line for like a year. And it hasn't really moved to the upside or the downside. This is what's called a peak in the market. And the economy, is ready to turn downwards rather rapidly. And this is going to cause a turnabout or a turn face in the Fed. But there's something called the wealth effect out there. And what they're going to do basically is they're going to destroy the wealth effect. And they're going to send the economy into a downward spiral that can only be resolved with more money, more credit creation. What does this mean for the average person out there? It means that the real estate market's going to start to cool rather rapidly, and this is a huge, huge market. The bond market is going to is the bubble is bursting on the credit markets, and we're watching the MOVE index starting to creep higher because of this. They're going to have to support the banking system. They can't allow that collateral damage to an exposure to credit defaults and default risk within the system to expand too far into the banking sector. Also, we have to consider the derivatives products out there. An awful lot of them are credit default swaps. Basically, an awful lot of it works on interest rate policies and the movements of interest rates. It's almost like insurance. And we're talking an industry out there that is over $2 quadrillion. That's $1,000 trillion in these derivatives products. We also have the part of the financial system that is what's called junk bonds, and it's basically what they call high yield. All of this is going to have to be supported at some point, and the action that the Fed's taking right now is going to cause a downward trend or a downward spiral that could get very much out of control very rapidly in the next few months as the Fed raises 50 basis points, and they start withdrawing liquidity out of the system. I think it's around $90 billion a month. Basically, what I'm saying is they're not going to get away with this. And we're going to watch all this unfold in the next few months. And it could cause a downturn that looks something very similar to what happened in what's called the Great Depression or the downturn that occurred after 1929. Moving into the 1930s. They can't really allow that to happen. And so they're going to have to change monetary policy. And when they change monetary policy, they're going to spin us off in the opposite direction. So basically what we're looking at is a fall and then a support coming on the other side of this. They do not have the fortitude to continue with these policy errors. At a certain point, they're going to have to, when they change direction, that's what we're looking for. And so I can't begin to tell you guys what kind of a downturn, a sharp downturn, or a hard landing we could be coming in for in the next short period of time. When I say short period, it's because the Federal Reserve is going to continue with these policy errors until they can't. It's basically like driving down into a dead-end street, and you're going to keep going until you hit this point where the road ends and all there is woods. And you have to turn around and go back. And to me, this is just simple logic. But the investors out there in the investing community have a wait-and-see attitude. They think that the Fed's going to be able to continue down this road. And I know myself personally that they're going to hit the dead end, where they're not going to be able to go any further and have to turn around and backtrack. It's that backtracking action that's going to cause a change in the cryptocurrencies, the gold and the silver. And this is kind of what I'm waiting for. Also, the downward spiral that they create by doing what they're doing right now to try to fight inflation ultimately is going to yield a downtrend that they're not going to be able to bring back up easily. It's a real mess. And you've all heard out there the Fed's trapped. Well, what I just explained to you, is a trap, and we're going to see it unfold probably in the next 4 to 6 months, fully. And you can review this show after it's over, and you'll see exactly what I've been talking about, but what can you expect on a personal basis? Well, we're looking at a war over in Ukraine. We're looking at interruptions and changes to supply chain distribution around the world of not just products, but also things like food. That's going to affect the populace, the general populace, in a very negative way. And they're not going to sit there and say, hey, we've been through a 40-year credit cycle and we've had everything we want based on credit. And now all of a sudden the credit's starting to dry up, and now they're going to extend more credit. But the downturn has already begun. They've already done the damage. And so we could be quite literally facing problems of a magnitude that we've never seen before. I know you've all heard the buzzword, civil unrest. But what really is all of that about? Well, you'll find out when you see the people start to lose control in certain places. In a way that's like something that we've never seen before. Could be, I'm going to mention the words RIOTS. I mean, I don't really see any way out of this situation because it's such a long-term thing that goes back to first, like 1913 and the beginnings of the Fed and the central banks, and ultimately in 1971 during the Nixon shock, and also leading into the decay of the dollar. China and Russia are the eastern side of the world is starting to work together to take the dollar out as a world reserve currency. There's not a whole lot of currencies out there or anything to replace the dollar as a world reserve exchange of value. I mean, there's a lot of talk about taking these currencies and backing them with gold. But then we have cryptocurrencies out there that can offer a rapid exchange of value across the internet for the modern age. Just exactly how this is all going to play out. It's actually kind of exciting to watch and see how it's playing out in real time in the real world. Yeah, guys. You need to be prepared for certain things that are going to go up in value so rapidly. I mean, we could be looking at food shortages, and this is what could trigger these social upheaval within society. That and the fact that they're robbing your money right out of the bank while your money is still in the bank by losing its purchasing power. So all this time, going back for years now, I've been telling everybody in my audience, get yourself some silver, some gold, and some cryptocurrencies. And a lot of people in my audience have listened, and they've made out pretty good so far, but nothing like what's coming. Because even though a lot of people in my audience perhaps didn't purchase cryptocurrencies, gold or silver, and we have seen some gains in this, the most in cryptocurrencies, we're really on the floor, the ground floor. And the real takeoff is not going to begin until the Fed actually changes monetary policy again. And so you're probably asking yourself, well, when? When's the Fed going to change monetary policy? It's when they cannot drive interest rates higher any longer, and the economy's crashing, and they cannot start removing liquidity from the system any longer. So they're going to push as long as they can get away with it until they hit a sharp downturn. And that's going to be the big day that when cryptos, gold, and silver really start to take off. But at the same time, it's hurting all of us out there because our investments in the dollar or any of the fiat currencies, which is these currencies that are issued by decree, are going to lose value on that end. So you're going to have to rely more on your alternative investments to get you through this time of trouble. In other words, that's what your insurance that you've put away for yourself, your gold, silver, cryptos, are there for. A lot of other people don't have these things. But during these times of trouble, when your paycheck doesn't buy much anymore and the money that you have in the bank doesn't purchase much anymore, that's when the purchasing power of these non-dollar denominated non-counterparty risk assets like gold, silver, and cryptocurrencies will be going to the moon. It's not really there so much to make you rich. It's more there to maintain your lifestyle through a period of turmoil when other people out there aren't going to be able to maintain their lifestyle. Anyway, wishing the best for all of you guys out there. And you might have a very limited period of time to actually get in purchase with fiat. Basically, you're making a trade. You're trading your fiat currencies off for gold, silver, or cryptos. When gold, silver, and cryptos are going to go up, they're going to be on one way, going up, and the price of and what you can purchase with the fiat currencies are going down. When the majority of the population starts to realize this effect, they're going to try to get into the gold, silver, and cryptos when it's really skyrocketing. And an awful lot of people that have it are not going to be willing to sell. And the upside potential is unlimited. This transfer over, when the majority of the population catches on, and they will at a certain point, is going to be something that's phenomenal and never been seen before. So thank you guys for listening to this Delta Report. And you still got a little bit of time left, even if you get in slowly, even if you don't have much money to spend on gold, silver, or cryptos. You should have some. And now's the time to get started if you haven't got started already. Catch you guys in the next show. Bye-bye.